What is up, everybody? Ethan back today with an album review. And what we're going to be looking at today is a really great debut album by an American band from Washington, D.C., I believe, uh, from the early, mid, and late 70s. This is the 1975 debut by Angel. Yeah, really underrated band. Um, how would I describe their music? 70s prog rock, hard rock with a lot of keyboards and great guitar riffs and really high pitched soaring vocals. Think Uriah Heep meets Rush with a little Deep Purple with a little like early 70s English prog rock. Mix all those things together, throw them in a blender, and that's kind of what Angel is. This was released October 27th, 1975 on the Casablanca and Mercury labels produced by Derek Lawrence and Big Jim Sullivan. This band, oddly enough, was actually discovered by Kiss bassist Gene Simmons, and he helped get them signed to Casablanca, which was the same label that Kiss was on. But their music couldn't be further from Kiss's music at the time, and I do like early Kiss, but later on, not so much. This is very like moody prog rock, Uriah Heep, Deep Purple. I get a little Rush on the vocals. Speaking of the vocals, let's go ahead and get into the personnel in the band at the time. On lead vocals, you have a guy named Frank Domino. Great singer, really high voice. Kind of reminds me of like David Byron from Uriah Heep, as I've said. Meets a little Geddy Lee from Rush, but a little less nasal than Geddy Lee. Geddy Lee's a little nasal for me from Rush. I mean, Rush is a great band, but sometimes those vocals do grate on my nerves a little bit. A guy named Punky Meadows on guitars, really great guitar player, underrated. Never really heard of this guy, but he great guitar player. He laid down some great riffs and solos. Kind of more of a riffy guy than a solo guy. The solos in this band are really more kind of keyboard heavy than guitar heavy. And then Greg, speaking of keyboards, you got a guy named Greg Giuffria on keyboards, organ, piano, mellotron, synthesizers, clavinet, harpsichord. He was kind of the driving force behind the band, similar to Uriah Heep with Ken Hensley, maybe even a Deep Purple with um, John Lord, of course. This he was kind of the driving force behind this band, I believe, early on. Greg Giuffria, a great keyboard player. Mickey Jones on bass guitar and Barry Brandt on drums. Really great, underrated drummer as well, I will say. Oh yeah, just a great for this to be a debut album. And there's a shot of the guys. For this to be a debut album, they really knocked it out of the park right out of the gate. Just a really mature kind of sounding album. Not a lot of growing pains with this album. You know, a lot of bands, even great bands like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, those first albums they did kind of hadn't discovered their sound yet. I would argue these guys had their sound right out of the gate. And honestly, I have some of their albums that came after this. Honestly, this may be their finest hour with close competition with their second album, Hell of a Band, which is also really good, like this one. May be stronger overall, but I think this one has the better songs. Oh, yeah, there's a shot of the guys. Greg Giuffria, the keyboardist. Mickey Jones, the bassist. Frank Domino, the singer. Kind of looking like young Sylvester Stallone there. There's Punky Meadows on guitar, and there's Barry Brandt on drums, of course. More pictures of the guys there. And I do like this artwork. The band later on would become sort of, they'd wear like these silky white satin outfits, kind of very glammy. Think like David Bowie, early David Bowie, kind of mixed with like your glam rock. They went for more of like an androgynous kind of look and appearance. This was kind of before all that when they were still kind of a, hard, gritty prog rock band, kind of with jeans and t-shirts. And I kind of like that vibe a little more, kind of more blue collar, if you will. But yeah, let's get into the songs. I feel like I'm rambling. It kicks off with a great song called Tower. Just Tower, not The Tower, just Tower. um, with a amazing, moody prog rock kind of intro. A lot of organ, a lot of, I guess, mellotron. I'm not an expert on instruments, but just a real moody kind of English prog rock song, melancholy, with some amazing. What a singer this guy is, Frank Domino. Um, Amazing, high soaring vocals from Frank Domino. And the band, they're called Angel. This dude really kind of sings like you'd think an angel would sing. I mean, he hits some incredible high notes. If you know the band Greta Van Fleet, he's kind of in that vein, but less annoying than Greta Van Fleet. This guy's like, he can sing higher than Robert Plant, and not really, I think he's a better singer than Robert Plant. That might be controversial, but Tower is just a great 7 minute long song. And then track number 2, you have a song called Long Time, which starts out with kind of an acoustic, again, very moody, very prog rock kind of intro, and then kind of builds from there with some great vocals and high pitched soaring singing from Frank Domino again. And then the next 2 songs are kind of more their hard charging rock songs. You have a song called Rock and Rollers, which, given the title, it does rock quite a bit. It has a great guitar riff from Punky Meadows in it. Kind of a more straight ahead, kind of Uriah Heep style hard rocker. Kind of sounds like Rush's first album. And then Broken Dreams has a killer riff in it. Really almost like a Deep Purple. Think like, Burn era Deep Purple kind of heavy riff along with the keyboards. Just really great stuff. And then another real proggy, kind of melancholy, moody song, Mariner. Kind of makes me think of The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the Iron Maiden song, real proggy, singing about albatrosses and, creepy stuff. Kind of in that vein. Really great song. Another Frank Domino tour de force on the vocals. Great song, Mariner. Check it out. And then Sunday Morning. That has a huge, heavy guitar riff in the beginning. Great riff in that from Punky again. You're seeing a running theme here. Great singing, great guitar playing, great keyboards. Yeah, Sunday Morning, great song. Really heavy too. And when I say this band is heavy, they're not like a heavy metal band. They're not like Black Sabbath. They're really not even quite as heavy as Deep Purple. I would say they're kind of like early Rush meets English prog with some Uriah Heep kind of heavy riffs and heavy keyboards. But Sunday Morning, check it out. Another great deep cut on this album. And then On and On, the last official song on the album, track number 7. Probably my least favorite song on the album. It's the most poppy, the most kind of catchy and radio friendly. I'm not a real pop catchy kind of guy. But it's still a really good song. That would kind of maybe hint at where they were going in the future, kind of more pop direction on their next few albums, but really good song. And then it ends with the Angel theme, which is a short kind of minute and a half long instrumental track that kind of finishes it off in grand fashion. Just a great debut album once again, and really cool cover art. I really like that. It almost looks like an kind of like an Egyptian sphinx or something, angel. I don't know. It's just really cool. Flip it upside down. It's cool that way as well. Yeah, just a great band, an underrated band, an underrated album. Again, like I said, they would get poppier as the 70s wore on, and those are some really good albums as well. But I think their first 2 are the best. I have Hell of a Band as well, and I may end up talking about that one at a later time. But it has more songs than this one, and it's longer. This one's a short, concise album. You could argue Hell of a Band may be a little better, but like I said earlier, I think this one has the more classic songs on it. I think the songs are a little better, more memorable. There's some poppy stuff on Hell of a Band, although the heavy stuff on Hell of a Band is really good as this. But those first 2 Angel albums, killer, mandatory, hard 70s prog rock at its finest. Just a great band. If you've never heard these guys or never listened to this album, I highly recommend it. The vocals are are very high. They might I could see them kind of wearing on people's nerves maybe over time. They don't really on me, but uh, he's a really high voice, not nasal like Rush, Geddy Lee, more like a David Byron from Uriah Heep, although maybe even a little higher than that. But just a great singer. Frank Domino was great guitar, great organ from Greg Giuffria, just a great band. Like I said, one last look at the guys there. Yeah, for a 1975 debut album, this is just a great one. Really kind of went under the radar. I think they kind of developed a cult following here in recent years. But yeah, check it out. Angel, self-titled from 1975. It's a 4 out of 5 stars for me. Maybe even 4.5 out of 5. Great album. Check it out.